What it do, cuckolds? It's your boy the Hater, and it's time for another vid up in this mug, all right? Today's video is gonna be about how the WWE is tricking all of us. In my opinion, at least, the WWE is tricking us, and in my opinion, they're straight up lying to us. Now, I'm not talking about the general kind of lie that WWE has to tell us with respect to like the characters and things like that, right? It goes without saying that there's going to be some embellishments, right? So, for example, WWE commentators might say, oh, Seth Rollins is the best athlete we've ever seen. That's understandable, right? The same way that they might say that Bo Dallas isn't a jobber and he's a scary guy, right? You could say all these things even though, like, Bo Dallas is a jobber and Seth Rollins is not the most athletic guy. Nevertheless, we're not talking about those kind of lies, those kinds of misleadings, right? That's understandable, That's part of the bargain. The idea that, for example, The Rock and Stone Cold hate each other, or that The Rock and Triple H hate each other, is necessary to tell the story because they're acting. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something slightly more sinister, you know what I mean? I'm talking about the situations under which the WWE lets us know that everything is hunky-dory, that everything is going straight to plan, and the reality can't be further from the truth. Now, for those that don't know, Saturday night mid-card, also known as Saturday night main event, drew an abysmal 1.5 and change million viewers, right? Less than 1.6, more than 1.5. I think it was 1.56 or 1.59, so closer to 1.6 to be fair. But think about what that means, right? That means that nobody possibly could give a rat's ass about this. This is as good as it gets, right? This is a situation where you're essentially getting a pay-per-view quality product on TV. And even then, it cannot draw 1.5 million. Imagine if Backlash 2000 was a free event. It would draw like 15 million people. Everyone would watch it. All the WWE fans and all the WCW fans and a few other ones who might hear, oh my God, The Rock and Triple H are the main event, Stone Cold coming back. You know what I'm saying? Or was that Backlash 2001? I always confuse them. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of the articles that I read are not talking about the clear lie that's being told here. Some of the articles mention that the first Saturday night main event drew something like 26 million people. It's like in a different universe completely than what we're seeing today, right? Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, or whoever the fuck it was, I know one of them was Hulk Hogan, him and the other guy drew 26 million people. Now, that is an astronomical number that can only be drawn by the likes of a Hulk Hogan. It's not in Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins' DNA to draw that many people, right? And to be fair, it's like you have like NXT, where you have the supposed future of this business, and those guys are drawing 500,000. Obafemi and fucking Trick Williams, who I'm told are the future, can't even draw like 1 million viewers. They're not even close. 500,000 on free TV. It's like, that's just like if a show gets those kind of ratings and it's not WWE, it gets canceled within one season. It's like, oh, this obviously failed abysmally, so we're going to get rid of it, cucks. But with WWE, they get special treatment because their business formula is a little bit different. But nevertheless, you have people like Seth Cucking Rollins and Cucky Rhodes himself and CM Cuck come out and just straight up lie to us. Now, this is also, to be fair, part of the storyline, but it's that fine line where they just lie to you and just hope that you just accept it because the lie is predicated on facts that do not match the lie, right? You cannot argue, for example, that, oh, Seth Rollins isn't the most athletic guy that we've ever seen. Maybe he is, who the hell knows, right? But you can argue with numbers. And the numbers dictate that WWE has been steadily falling since before the pandemic, but even before that, obviously, right? It wasn't that long ago when Cena was getting all this hate for letting the ratings get to 3 million, which are twice as much as what we get now. Think about what that means. That means that everyone you see on TV today, and it's not just their fault, it's also the fault, obviously, of Triple H, of how these things are booked and how the show is put together. The fact is that these things just don't draw, right? The formula is broken and it needs to be revamped. As I said in a previous video a few weeks ago, if AEW, let's just say, pardon me, cucks, let's just say that AEW debuted next week, right? Well, 1.4 million compared to 1.5 million is right there. You're knocking on the door. You know what I mean? That could be just like, all that can be explained by random chance. 100,000 people didn't tune in for whatever reason, right? Maybe there was like some ballet going on or something, right? But they can't compete with like 2.5 million, which is what Raw was getting when they started. But in one season of The Hater, right? Because we're about to go season 2, I think, because we had season 0 too, you know what I'm saying? In one season of The Hater, then, like, WWE has lost 1 million viewers, right? And this brings us to the concept of trends. You understand me? It's not just about how many viewers you have, like, on the books. It's about whether you're trending upwards or downwards. The Hater's analysis of AEW failing, which I was also right about. I've been right about everything I've said, basically, for the last, 5 years. But the Hater's analysis of that was predicated upon the fact that the first show drew like 1.4 million and the second show drew like 1.1, right? It's a big drop-off. So I'm like, all right, this is as good as it's going to get, and I was right. Now, with all that being said, this doesn't excuse the fact that they're going downhill consistently, right? Yeah, there might be a week here and there where they get like a 5% boost, and then next week they get a 7% drop, right? The graph is trending downwards, but it's trending worse for WWE because WWE has a longer graph, and a graph where at some point they apparently drew 26 million. Imagine what that graph looks like, motherfucks. You know what I'm saying? So, the lying comes in the form of people like Gunther, people like Seth Cucking Rollins, Cucky Rhodes, Cucky Owens, CM Cuck. You see a trend here, they're all cucks, right? They come out and they just straight up lie. We saw this yesterday on Raw. Seth Rollins said that once CM Punk left, Seth Rollins carried, this is a quote basically, he carried this company on his back and brought it to new heights. No, he didn't. This is a flagrant lie. Now, CM Punk cannot call him out on it and say like, hey, you've lost 1 million viewers. You know what I mean? You are garbage. Like, you are not worthy of being here. He said that part, he said that you're not worthy part, but he can't say like, yo, the company's not doing better than it's ever been doing at all, right? All that's happened is that they've restructured various deals, right? That's just called good business. That's why Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon. A lot of people think this is just random. They're like, oh, Vince McMahon, and I've been saying this too for years. I'm like, Vince McMahon knows what he's doing. The company's doing better than ever in many ways, like in terms of money and dividends and things like that, but they're not doing better than ever in terms of viewer retention and in terms of actual entertainment, which are the only metrics that you and I should care about. You and I shouldn't give a rat's ass if Vince McMahon made money or didn't. You and I need to use only the metrics that can be used as proxies to indicate how good the show is. There's only 3. Viewership, right, which is objective. You get a number, you put it on a graph, and you see the trend. Then we've got entertainment factor, right? We cannot measure this really well, right? We have our own subjective opinions, and we use the viewership as a proxy for, whether the show is good or not, right? Because the better a show is, the more people are going to view it, right? And thirdly, we have progression of storylines. Another subjective metric, but one that's becoming increasingly more objective. Nobody can deny that there's been no progression at all with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. It's been 6 months for one promo, and then now we have to do another 6 months for them to speak again. The hell? But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'm concerned just about the lies. And the lies are inexcusable. Straight up. Seth Rollins can go there with a straight face and say, I've brought the company to newer heights. No, you haven't. Seth Rollins' job is not to make money for the company. That's used to be Vince McMahon's job. Vince McMahon is the guy that says, I'm going to use Seth Rollins, my employee, or my independent contractor, I should say, to make some money off of him. The way that Vince McMahon uses Seth Rollins is up to Vince McMahon. He's the one who decides what's going to happen and how they're going to make money, right? He might tell them, shut up, go promote this action figure, and he'll do it, right? I don't know why he would, because nobody's going to buy an action figure because Seth Rollins plays with it, but you understand what I'm getting at. He'll promote the action figures. That's all that's changed. The reason WWE is making more money is because they're investing heavily in things that generate a lot more money. In the past, these avenues weren't there. Like the WWE YouTube channel makes millions of dollars a year. You understand me? That's something that didn't exist before YouTube came about, right? Before YouTube got big. So that's millions of dollars that they wouldn't make in 1999. That's all that's happening, right? That's all that's happening. Every other aspect that matters is going down except for things like social engagement. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they always say things like, oh, this thing got 45 million views on like TikTok, where sometimes like I'll be wiping my ass and I leave the YouTube short on, it plays like 7 times while I wipe my ass. Sometimes I forget it and I go take a shower. So it's like this thing is generating like 100 views while I take a shower, and that counts as 100 views. No, motherfuckers. That's not how this works, cuckolds. The fact of the matter is that the only way WWE can sustain this lie is just to keep lying. Seth Rollins can go there and pretend, just a suggestion. The suggestion that Seth Rollins has had a positive impact on wrestling is retarded. Like, it's not even slightly stupid. It's preposterously dumb. We all know by watching him that Seth Rollins has not had any impact on wrestling. And if he has had an impact on wrestling, it's been negative, right? The viewership reflects this. The fact that a Seth Rollins t-shirt went from $50 to $70, that's a Vince McMahon move, right? It has nothing to do with Seth Rollins. If they run out of Seth Rollins t-shirts, people will buy the Tozawa t-shirt. You understand what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with that. The fact of the matter is the fact of the matter, cucks. The reality is the reality, and the truth is the truth, like the hater always says. The facts are what they are. And we see them before us. We see that Seth Rollins has never drawn a dime. We see that Seth Rollins is a glorified mid-carder. We see that his entire feud with CM Punk is predicated on one calling the other a mid-carder. CM Punk says, you've accomplished nothing because you're my underling. And Seth Rollins says, you've never made event at WrestleMania. And Seth Rollins says this because he made event at 9-1 of a WrestleMania where he was like, he could easily have been replaced with literally anybody else. You could have replaced him with Solo Sikoa and it would have worked. Right? Doesn't matter. Nobody tuned into that to see Seth Rollins. Everyone was there to see Cucky, The Rock, and Roman, right? And if we're being honest, most people tuned in because The Rock was there. Nobody gave a shit about Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns for that match, right? But Seth Rollins and CM Punk act like they're these big stars, these big draws. Like Seth Rollins was flirting with this a few weeks ago, where he was like, I'll make you famous. What are you talking about? You've dropped the viewership by 1 million. Like while you were in your runs, 1 million people decided that you are not good enough to watch. And he's like, I'll make you famous. Famous to who? 1.5 million? There's YouTubers like Penguin Zero, whatever the fuck you pronounce his name. That guy puts up a video, it gets like 2 million views. Like that guy who's just a dude talking, just like the hater, that guy gets 2 million views. He's good, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to shit on him. Like, I actually like his content a lot, but you understand what I'm getting at. It's one dude that clicks record and starts talking about things. That guy outdraws Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, everybody combined. That guy outdraws the WWE. Do you understand me? That guy gets more views than the WWE. So when you think about it, people are like, yeah, but WWE makes more money. Yeah, because WWE has many different avenues of making money, right? And a YouTuber has YouTube, essentially, right? They have other avenues too, obviously, right? Stay tuned for hater merch, cucks. But the point is, you get what I'm getting at. The reality is that CM Punk and the likes of CM Punk, like Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn, they act like what they're doing is good enough. And it's clearly not. And the more that this lie continues to fester, the more people will rely on it, right? Like, at the end of the day, if you tell a lie enough times, you will believe it. So if Triple H starts saying we're doing just fine, it's like that meme of that dog, you know, it's like a cartoon dog and like everything's burning behind him and he's like, everything's fine. It's like that. Like, shit's on fire, bro. Like, that's where this is heading. Like, these lackluster pay-per-views, right? And now we finally have metrics because I don't care how you spin it. Saturday Night Main Event is a pay-per-view. It's almost like the second half of Survivor Series. It's the people that didn't wrestle at Survivor Series wrestle here, like Cucky Owens and, you know, Cody Rhodes. And some of them also wrestled at Survivor Series, but you know what I mean, right? It's the second component of that. And this thing drew 1.5 million people. This thing drew less people than like a rerun of Golden Girls. Like, you go watch Frasier on those like weird ass networks, and that thing gets like 2 million views. I mean, Frasier's a great show, but you understand what I'm getting at. The point is that all these people do is they talk about how much of a draw they are, then they fail to draw. This is almost unbelievable. It's like wrestling is just for dorks and losers. It's full of dorks and losers as well. You have CM Punk, he thinks he's like this big draw. Well, let's see how many viewers Raw got this week. Last week they got like 1.3. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? we're in the territory now where the discussion of a Raw getting under 1 million is a possibility. There is a possibility that Raw will get less than 1 million viewers in the next few years. There's a possibility it'll happen this year. You understand me? Like, just look at yesterday's Raw. Go watch my Raw review from yesterday. And you'll see that this was one of the worst Raws ever. I think it was the worst Raw in history. And one of you said in the comments, they're like, not every Raw can be the worst one. I agree. Like, this is now the worst one. The one from last week was the worst one until this week when this Raw surpassed it for being as shit as it could possibly be. This is like worse than any other episode of TV ever. Think about it. 3 matches in 2 hours. What the hell happened for the rest of the 2 hours? And if you ask those questions, right, and you're honest with yourself, the answer is you were being lied to. For 1 hour and 40 minutes, you were being lied to, tricked, and advertised to. You were being told what's going to happen next time. Like, the amount of time that is spent on every episode of Raw and SmackDown talking about what's going to happen next week is preposterous. Just do it the old way. 2 people wrestle, one wins, the other loses. The loser picks up the mic and says, next week, I want like this other guy. That's it. Done. You know what I mean? Now it's like, let me have a meeting, right? Let's go to Nick Aldis's office and have a meeting to discuss what's going to happen in 3 weeks for the tag team titles. Oh, here's another contract signing. We already know the match is happening. Why the fuck do you think I would care about a contract signing? Like, I might care if something cool happens. Like, remember that contract signing between Triple H and Stone Cold, right? Where Vince McMahon said if they put their hands on each other, like, they're both fired, right? And then Stone Cold signs, and Triple H just beats his ass. Remember that? And then Vince McMahon says, you're fired, pal. And then Triple H says, no, I'm not, because I never signed, pal, which was brilliant. Triple H didn't sign the contract, beats Stone Cold, signs it afterwards, right? That's brilliant. You know, that's a compelling contract signing because now Triple H got one over him, right? If 2 people brawl and one of them wins, so what? It doesn't matter. It means nothing. Like, it's just like, oh, Kevin Owens beats Cody Rhodes up during the contract signing, and then Kevin Owens says, oh, Cody's in real trouble at the pay-per-view, and then, wow, shock, surprise, surprise, Cody Rhodes beats the odds once again like John Cena. You know? Just watch, motherfucks. Just watch. The booing of this guy is going to be legendary when it starts happening. But anyways, that's all for now. I mean, I don't have much more to say other than the fact that I'm tired of getting lied to up in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what video we're going to do, but basically, we're just churning butter until we get to that fucking, what's it called? Hater reboot, January 6th, cuckolds. So with that being said, that's how that is, and that's how it's going to be. Hater on Netflix one day, cucks.